Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe back, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for April 5th, 2020. So, weekends. Yeah. Anyway, so not very much has happened differently this week. This week was a lot harder working from home, but also very busy, so it was weird. A lot of things we changed, rolled out a new scheduling thing at work, and for me, to people, and I was stressed about that because I really didn't want to give that up. Anyway, I put it out there. And then I did my first Zoom meeting because we usually have meetings on Thursday morning that I go in for early, and well, I did it from home. That was kind of interesting. So that was weird. It was because there was 9 of us on. There was like the Brady Bunch thing. It was hilarious. Anyway, so I made it through. So that'll probably be a thing for the rest for all this goes on. Anyway, so I was glad we got through that. Anyway, so work was busy. I did not read a lot this week. I have to admit that I pretty much retreated from reading, and I didn't listen to an audiobook at all this week. I just was so busy at work I couldn't have music or even the audiobook going. I just couldn't do it. I was just so much stuff was going on. So, and then I just didn't. I read mostly comfort reads. And I don't know what I'm going to read next week. I'd like to say I was going to pick up the books that I started, but I'm not sure, but I'll mention those. Anyway, so this weekend I only went out once with my brother to go grocery shopping. We had to go in his car because my car is making a funny noise and I'm not sure if I should be driving it. So I'm going to take it for a little test drive on a Monday, and just I didn't want to test drive it on Saturday, so I thought, because on Monday at least I can call one of the guys I work with and go, hey, my car's making this noise. What should I do? So hopefully it'll be okay. We'll find out. Anyway, so as I said, I didn't read a whole lot this week. What I was trying to say is I kind of retreated to playing Animal Crossing for hours every night. I'd get off work, I'd clock off, I'd leave, my office, and I'd go into the living room. I'd turn on Animal Crossing and play for like 3 hours before I had dinner. It was I'm finally making progress though. It just took me forever. I am so behind the game. Everybody has these, like, are way ahead of me. Like, I haven't given my friend code out to anybody because for people to visit, because I'm so backwards. I'm so behind. But you have to understand, I don't play video games that often, and this is the only one I played, about 10 years ago on the Wii. So anyway, it's been interesting. So I'm finally making some progress. Anyway, so I'll get to play that later today, but with the stipulations. So I'll get to that maybe at one point. So the book I finished on Monday was Rock Hard by Nellie Singh. Again, this was a reread. I reread this probably once a year since it came out in 2015, I believe. Oh my god, this is one of my favorite contemporary romance books, just because I just love the dynamic between Charlie, who had a very traumatic thing happen to her in college, and she is very, very nervous and scared around men, and she just because of what happened. And then and then we have Gabriel, who is like a force of nature, an ex-rugby player. This takes place in New Zealand, so you get the whole rugby thing. It's so awesome. Anyway, I love it. But he is a big power CEO now, and he is just like a force of nature. And she calls him T-Rex. This is one of my favorite nicknames for a guy. Anyway, this is just is one of my favorites of contemporaries, and definitely one of my favorite books by Nellie Singh. Again, I love almost all of her books. I can't say all of them anymore. Isn't that sad? Anyway, but the point is, I love this book, and so I reread this. I still have her newest one in this series. So the first books in the contemporary series were the Rock Kiss ones, which were mostly about the rock band, except this one's kind of inserted in. And then the next series, which is Hard Play, is the ones that that deal with Gabriel's brothers. And so I've read one about one of his brothers, and then one of his best friend, that guy's best friend. And then the next book came out as one of Gabriel's other brothers. So I haven't read it yet. I haven't been able to read anything new. So that came out like early March, and I just have not read it yet. I probably will by next month or two. But I just love this, and I got back into this world. So I really want to reread the other ones in the series, before I read the new book. But we'll see. But I really enjoyed my reread of that. And then I picked up Etched in Bone by Anne Bishop. As I said, this series is one of my new favorites. Last year, discovered the other series, and read the first all five books in the first 4 months of the year. Then I already restarted the reread last year, I think in the fall, and so now I've gotten to the last book. This is book 5 on my reread. So again, it's my first time rereading it. So again, I don't remember everything. Like, it's funny. I remember a lot of it because I read book 4 and 5 really close together. Like, I spaced out the other ones once a month, but then I read 4 and I went, no, I need to read 5 right now. So I read them pretty close together. So I don't remember everything in this as clearly. So it's great because I am getting more, like, I remembered a lot of it, but I meant the little teeny details which make me laugh and smile. I love this series. This is an urban fantasy series that has to do kind of an alternate history where North America is mostly owned by the others, or that are like shifters of different sorts, and vampires and stuff, and the humans don't own any of that, and they lease it, and so they're on, are not in a great position in some ways, except that they push their boundaries and then all things explode. Anyway, so book 5 is much quieter than book 4. Book 4 was kind of like the big climax, what I would said it was, and a lot of people don't like book 5, but there are things about book 5 that I still think are done really well, and there's a reason for it. I do personally think 4 and 5 should be flipped, just for to ramp up all the emotion, but it's like we've had the ramp up and now we're coming down, but it's not really done. Like, I don't know how to explain that, but I really enjoy this book still. I still understand what she did, and I know not everybody's gonna like it. But anyway, so I'm about 324 into the 500-page book, so I have about 175 pages left. I'm gonna finish this today. I told myself I have to because I've read this all week. Like, it just took, some days I read, like one day I read like 11 pages, and then other days I read like about 50, which is what I try to average on daily all the time. But I want to finish this today so I can move on to something else. But here we go. Oh, and I did say I have to read this morning, after I film this, I have to read at least 75 pages to 100 pages before I can play Animal Crossing. I have to. I have to. So anyway, I don't know what I'm going to pick up next. So the 2 books that I put aside this week that I'm hoping this week I'll come back to is, I'm still reading Journal of the Plague Year by Daniel Defoe. I'm at 90 pages out of, I think it's 230, 240. So I'm not quite halfway yet. And I still want to read this. It's just, this week I just didn't have any time during work, even on my breaks. Like, really, my breaks were me walking to go just walk around to get some exercise, which I really need to start actually walking out of the house maybe a little bit, but this week was just not a week for that. But anyway, so I didn't really get to this because this is what I was using for my breaks, and then I was, hopefully going to pick it up every night and read at least 10 pages. Didn't happen. So we'll see what happens this week. I'm hoping to try to get back onto that, try to read 10 pages a day, and then just get through this. It's not, I mean, again, it's so realistic to what's going on now in the world, and I mean, except for, this is 1665, London plague. It's really weird how you read about other pandemics and other time periods, and so many of the things that we're doing now were done back then. Maybe not to the same extent or the same things, like it wasn't quite the same. It's not the same plague, but it was the same thing of trying to self-isolate and all that stuff. I thought it's been really interesting. Because Daniel Defoe is writing this 60 years after it actually happened. So it's fictionalized, but it's also based on accounts that he found on what happened during that time. I just think it's been very interesting. I need to get back to it. I just haven't finished it. So I'm going to try to work a little bit on that this week. As I said, I didn't pick up the audiobook at all this week. It just did not happen. Every time I thought about it, I was just too busy to have the audiobook playing on my computer. So while I was working, there was just not enough time. Or I had too many things that I had to be concentrating on that I couldn't have an audiobook playing. So Ben Franklin by Walter Isaacson. I'm listening to this on audio by Nelson Rugger, who's a really great audiobook reader. I really enjoy his stuff. So so far, as I said, I think I've read 3 chapters. So I'm starting chapter 4. So as I said, I'm only 50 pages in. It's 500. Well, just under 500 pages. So it's still going to take me a while. I think I have over 20 some hours left. So I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to hopefully this next week at least make a dent into this. I don't expect to, blast through it at all. I don't see my schedule clearing up that much. So I'm hoping at least I can get at least another couple hours done in this next week. So hopefully, and that's again for my presidential biographies. Again, I'm doing the presidents, and then I do some of the key figures around them. So Franklin is very important. So I want to get through that. And then the only other book that I'm partially into the middle is 9 Coaches Waiting by Mary Stewart. I made it about 254 pages in of 454. So I have 200 pages left. This is a book written or published in 1958 and follows a woman named Linda who had grown up in France, but her dad was English and she was in England or something. Her parents died in a plane crash, and so she was orphaned. And so she was in orphanages through her childhood, and then she worked for one afterwards. She became a teacher. And then she takes a leap to become a governess to a young boy, a 9-year-old boy in France, to be his English tutor, or governess kind of thing. So she goes back to France, and it's her and the family, and it's this big estate. I think they they have wine and grapevines and other things, and it's a big estate thing, and so there's big money, and they're kind of popular. They're higher social ranking than she would be, and what happens when she comes in, and the things that the secrets that the family has that she's watching after the boy, which there's a couple accidents that happen that may not have been accidents. Anyway, so it's a suspense, it's romantic, there's a love interest. So far I think the love interest, again, as I said, is pretty, sometimes hers can be very what I want to say, love at first sight kind of stuff. Not quite, not to that point, because actually when they first meet, it's hilarious. Anyway, well, not hilarious. I mean, anyway, it was a good scene. Anyway, but like more instantaneous than I want. I can't think what everybody talks about. Insta love. Like it's almost that, but not quite. It's a little bit too much for me. But I love everything else, all the atmosphere, the descriptions of East France, and it's fun. But I had to put it down because I don't remember it as well. It's a reread, but I don't remember. It's been over 20 years since I read it, and I don't remember any of it. I thought the other ones that I reread already, I'm trying to read them in publication order this time around. The first 2, I didn't remember when I started them, but as soon as I got into them, I remembered the stories, at least parts of them. I didn't remember a whole lot about them because they weren't the 2 that are my favorite, and those are coming up soon. So I need to get to that. Because they're the ones I'm really looking forward to rereading, because it's been about 10 years for those 2. But these ones are all over 20 years old, or to me. And again, my mom and my grandmothers all read these books, and that's why I read them when I was a teenager. But I don't remember this one anyway at all. So it's really weird. I know I read it, because I read all of them but one. One I won't read. Anyway, but the point is I read all of them that I had on the shelf. And anyway, so I'm hoping to finish this one. I don't know if this will be the next thing I pick up, though. To be honest, I have no idea what I'm going to pick up next. I am going to do a triad chapter for some of the oldest books on my TBR to do for the TBR clear out that Katie at Books and Things is putting on. I was going to do it anyway, but I'm just going to kind of jump in on that. So I'm either going to do the classics this week or the other ones that are not classics. I haven't decided what I feel like yet. I don't know. I'm really mood reading still. I really want to pick up some books that I have not read before, but I am still drawn to picking up another reread. So we will see how I feel after I finish Etched in Bone. I'm just not sure what I'll pick up. So how are you guys doing? How is your reading? How are you handling staying inside. I mean, again, I'm pretty good, except I really wanted a coffee this morning. I wanted to go out so bad. But no, I won't go out. But I wanted to. Anyway, the cats love it that I'm home. They're with me on and off all the day. When I'm working, they come in and visit, but not as often. They're getting used to me being in here and not paying attention to them. But they still get needy. They really, really like me being home. They like it. Like I went out to the mailbox because I thought I might have a package, but I didn't. And Cooper just looked out the window at me like I was leaving him. Like, how could you do that? I just walked down the street to the mailbox and came back. Anyway, it was funny. So anyway, again, I hope you guys are staying safe and staying healthy. And anyway, that's kind of it. This week's been kind of weird, and now the cats are crying in the background. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.